Hello everyone, Maryann here, revealing light, tarot, astrology and spirituality. Wherever you are in the world when you're watching, a huge shout out to you. Thank you for your likes, your comments, your subscriptions. Welcome to new subscribers. A lot to get through today, but as always, there is a lot to get through. It seems that I just go to sleep one night and I wake up to a barrage in the morning. And of course, many of you have many questions in this really chaotic, troubling time. So we'll look at today whether or not the US Education Department will shut. Of course, it has been ruled unconstitutional when Elon Musk shut US Foreign Aid Department. Are they going to do this again? In that regard, several federal court judges in the US are saying that Trump is failing to comply with their court orders regarding foreign aid, federal spending and the firing of government workers. Now, of course, Trump and his sycophantic liars are disputing this, but of course the courts are there to rule on the law. And there's no emotion in that. They're applying the law to each of these situations. Now, in response, Trump is attacking the judges who are applying the law. And, of course, the highest judge in the land, John Roberts on the Supreme Court of the US, has taken him to task as a result. But there is a real issue of contempt, and there is a real issue of where the US goes in such a constitutional crisis when the president is ignoring the courts. So we'll take a bit of a deeper look in that. Also want to look at will Trump's immunity can't be called into question. Now, I don't think they're going to revisit their previous decision, but if he is ignoring the courts, I wonder if he's in danger of that whole question around he's perpetrating a coup and whether or not he's eligible to be president. So let's take a look at whether or not if they do it by revisiting or if they do it in a new way because his crimes against the Constitution are so great. We'll take a look at that. Also want to say when I spoke about or when I did a reading on Chuck Schumer, they're not my opinions. I was reading the cards and it showed many, 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 many pentacles. Now, I'm not saying that the leader of the Senate Democrats is in it for the money. That's not what I'm saying at all. But what I saw in my reading was self-interest. Now, I don't know how right I am in that reading. All I know is that many of you have come back and said, well, he said the courts would have shut down. No, the courts do not shut down in a government shutdown. They have emergency funds, which takes them through for a period of time. And then after that, something called the Anti-Deficiency Act kicks in to keep the courts going in light of a government shutdown. And let me remind everyone that what is illegally done during a government shutdown is dealt with when the government reopens. If you take a scenario of the government shutting down and no planes in the air, how long do you think it would be with the economy nosediving already? How long do you think it would be before Trump himself, the trouble landed at his very feet and he was forced into a negotiating position? So Democrats now are divided about this whole Schumer question. Many, the governor of Illinois, I think Nancy Pelosi, has come out and said, I never negotiated and got nothing. I always negotiated and had something. We don't give away nothing. And so there are now real calls for Schumer to stand down. My question is broader than Schumer. My question is, can the Dems regroup? A few months ago, I said that a leader would emerge from the Democrats I didn't say they would emerge. I said that the Democrats would regroup through big ideas and bringing vision for the future to the table, not relying on the past, not relying on, the party of the multicultural melting pot of the people or protecting democracy. No, not those sort of ideas, although they are very true in this current climate. It's about bringing something new to the table. And so I want to see, can the Dems regroup? Can they draw in? The people again, and will a new leader emerge that can draw the people to them, not the other way around? And this is something that I was discussing with Lena Rodriguez on Tarot Down Under, that it is not the past that will determine the Democrats' future. It's how they can draw many to them from all walks without relying on what they've done in the past to win elections. This is a whole new landscape. And of course, in readings that I have done, it's on the economy where they will succeed the most. And so let's see if they can regroup and bring forward new leadership. I want to know if Putin is playing Trump like a fiddle. Yeah, well, it's easy. It's easy to think that, isn't it? Because the deal on the 30-day ceasefire not to strike energy infrastructure, well, Ukraine was really getting runs on the board and wins by striking Russia's oil and gas infrastructure. One of my viewers described Russia as a big gas station with nukes, and that's pretty apt. That's what the Russian economy, which is in trouble, relies upon. It's oil and gas. So this very much suited Putin to do this. But here's another thought. Trump has proposed that the US take over Ukraine's energy infrastructure. Wow. Isn't that a coincidence? What about this scenario? Putin and Trump are both cooking something up together to divide the spoils of Ukraine between the two, between Putin and between Trump. Okay, well, I will kind of play it this way, so you get this advantage if the US can take this from Ukraine. And if you get that from Ukraine, then the US will want this from Ukraine. So that's more likely, two crooks being complicit. That's the more likely scenario than Putin playing Trump. It's a very convenient narrative to say Putin playing Trump. Wake up. They are both complicit and are playing us all, two crooks, over a phone call, playing us all. Okay, but I just don't see that narrative there, unfortunately. Let's get the gloves off and get realistic. Okay, so let's have a look at some easy questions. Let's have a look. Well, they're not easy, but we can probably get a yes or no. Let's have a look firstly if he will close the education department as he's threatening. Can you show me about closing the education department? There are plans being drawn up, have already been drawn up, and he's appending his signature to something. So there's, I think I did see he was supposedly signing something. That would be that executive order that's already been written. So is he going to close the education department? Will Trump close the education department? It'll be unconstitutional, just as closing the US Foreign Aid Department was unconstitutional. Will Trump close the education department? Will Trump close the education department? Ten of Swords and the Eight of Swords. Okay, so what he's going to do is restrict it to a shopfront, for want of a better word. It's not a total closure, but it's a, well, I don't know, maybe it is, but, well, they're not good cards, but it's a restriction of some sort. Anyway, that's what I see. He will get pushback from his own voters. By the way, I'm using the Nightfall Tarot by Amory Abbott. Okay, so the Ten of Cups, that's the voter at the foundation. We have the Ace of Swords in the past. Well, he told us what he was going to do, didn't he? He told us what he was going to do. But yet the voter maybe didn't think that he would go this far. Maybe didn't think that he would close something that they rely on. Now, potentially he's going to walk this back in some way. I think it's already been drawn up, but there's potentially some walking back, potentially, not actually. The Queen of Pentacles is security, having everything one needs, the money flowing, and we get the Five of Cups in the present, suggesting a great deal of loss. Why aren't we surprised? We have logic and law in the atmosphere around. We have, look at all these cups, loss, ending type cards. The Eight of Cups in the hopes and fears, and the Ace of Cups as the outcome, which would suggest yes. And we have strength. It's going to be, and the Ace of Pentacles, yeah. Look, it is, he's going to say save money, blah, blah, blah. He's going to get a lot of pushback. A lot of pushback. He might just keep the veneer of a department open, but the bulk of it's gone. Manipulation, manifestation, partisanship, and a victory and a win for the base. He said he was going to do this. I don't know if people thought through the consequences and what it would mean for them, because there are programs that the working class rely on, but it looks like he's going to do it. Disappointment and one cup remaining. There's that Ace of Cups. So I think there's a lot of pushback on this, and I don't know, there could be a partial last minute reprieve, but the bulk of the education department will go, just as the bulk of the US aid department went as well. I hope I'm wrong on that. All right, let's see if... let's just ask what happens. Don't worry, I have another coloured deck here. I'll switch to it in a minute. What happens if Trump is in contempt of court? Well, he already is, according to federal judges. So I guess the question is, will he comply with the Supreme Court order? Will he comply? Or well, let's say, will he ignore? Will he ever ignore a Supreme Court order? Will he ever ignore a Supreme Court order? Pretty lawless. It's almost like a sabotage. He's trying to slowly sabotage the rule of law in America. He'll go so far, then he'll pull back, then he'll go a bit further. So ultimately, will he ignore a Supreme Court order? Will he ignore a Supreme Court? He's setting a match to the legal system, and it's intentional. So there's the Knight of Cups, an offer of some sort, and then the Lovers. Okay, well, you know, that's sort of the get out of jail free card. I have immunity, or so he thinks. But let me say that the immunity that the Supreme Court gave Donald Trump is tied to the presidential powers as outlined in the Constitution. If he moves beyond the Constitution, if he's tearing the Constitution up completely, the immunity is off. And that leads me to my next question. He has an agenda here, the High Priestess here. The Three of Cups, circles of support. Ironic that the Supreme Court supported him in the past. 3 judges here are coming through. Who would they be? Thomas, Alito, and I think Kavanaugh. Anyway, it's a crossroads, decision time. This would be a constitutional crisis. Stability of the economy and the law. Oh my goodness gracious me. Heartbreak and betrayal. That's how people are feeling. In a way, these cards are very apt. The Three of Pentacles, they're working all the time, as I say, to try and undermine, because what I saw is the highwaymen in the robber type England history, the highwaymen, and they used to sabotage deliveries of things and then rob, and that's pretty much the energy that I'm getting. The robber barons, the Magician, and the hopes and fears, manifestation, but also manipulation. And the King of Swords, will he ever ignore? Well, he has a plan and a strategy. And he's figuring that out right now. There are people that are drawing up ways to circumvent the courts, illusion and delusion, planting the idea that the courts, the law is corrupt. This would be a constitutional crisis. There's debt here. Someone is in their debt, in his debt, obviously. We have the tower breaking down that rule of law and the chariot. But we also have the Six of Swords here. So there's something else here that I can't see. We've got the High Priestess here at the foundation. He has a plan. It's behind that veil. Is he deliberately? Does he have a plan that he is fulfilling, a plan and a strategy to circumvent the Supreme Court? Now, 10 of Cups, the voter, the mandate, 8 of Swords, restriction. People are getting very, very worried in America, even those that voted for him. The 10 of Pentacles, the oligarchy. Goodness gracious, he's following someone like Putin's plan. Remember two crooks talking over the phone? That's the situation, not that he's being played by Putin. Holding back funding for the courts. That's, I think, where the constitutional crisis goes. There's something around that he may... I don't know how he could do it. That, again, would be unconstitutional. But at its worst, it's stripping the courts completely of their power. I mean, that's the kind of trajectory that he would like. It's not what would actually happen. And so this would be a coup. This would be an outright coup. Do the Supreme Court take away his immunity in the future? Do the Supreme Court, because the militaries, they have an oath to the Constitution, not to him, not to a king. Will the Supreme Court revoke his immunity or find that he's committed laws and he's perpetrating a coup and he has no immunity from that? Will the Supreme Court find that he is not immune from the law? Will the Supreme Court find he's not immune from the law? Yeah, I keep getting arrows, that kind of archer stuff. Very much that period in England where you had the oligarchy, the feudal system, and so much. That's the kind of period that we're sort of in a way, but in a modern day time. We have the 8 of Wands here. Something moving very, very, very quickly. We might get to this sooner than what we think. The 5 of Pentacles, again, that's that feeling of many being locked out of this current oligarchical type of government. That's why Bernie Sanders in the US is doing so well, as he goes around and he talks about this. It's happening very, very quickly. Okay, the Sun card. The Sun card, full illumination, almost like the loop begins, like it's like he goes as far as he can go. Now, what happens in that instance? Of course, the federal marshals there's jail, there's fines, and the federal marshals then. But, of course, Trump could just order the federal marshals not to arrest him. Then goes back to the Congress for, to enforce, either via impeachment or in some other way, legislation, and then, we come down to good men standing up and fighting for America's republic. The Sun, the Wheel of Fortune, will they revoke his immunity? Change is in the past. The Five of Swords is abuse and sabotage. That's the potential here. We have the Ace of Cups. Interesting. This would be a total and utter reset for America if this were to occur and they were to throw a tyrant out of office. This would reset things for a long time to come, reform things. We have the Four of Pentacles. Again, this holding back of something that's in the present, not complying. The Emperor, control. I am the king. I'm above the law. That's what he says. The Death card is in the hopes and fears. Sorry, I just saw Spirit then. The Death card, that's important in the hopes and fears. Many have said, is this the end of the republic or democracy? But this is also the end of him as well. Justice. Looks like they're going to act eventually. I'm not talking about right now, although events are moving fairly quickly, but they're going to act. The Supreme Court is going to act. And the Two of Cups coming together, contracts, deals, and then we have the Eight of Pentacles. Skill, learning a skill, and then we have the Truth. So does Trump and Project 25 and the sycophantic J.D. Vance, Jesse Vance, Elon Musk, do they have the wherewithal to pull this off? They'll go as far as they can, but in the end they don't succeed. We have the Justice card. As the outcome, will the Supreme Court revoke his immunity? The Justice card, what is taken away is given back. His immunity is on the table now, and quite possibly they will take away his immunity. They gave him immunity, they can take it back. And then we move to the Congress. So these are events for the future. I'm not saying this is likely to happen this month or next month, but it seems that this is the current trajectory or the current way the energy is playing out. Now, I don't need tarot cards to tell you that. I think you know that this is where this is going to end, in some kind of SCOTUS contempt, defilement, and then SCOTUS taking away that immunity in some way that makes him not above the law. We have the King of Wands, the Congress, they're forced into some sort of decision. We have the King of Swords, the prosecution, the law, planning, strategy, and an inevitability and a karmic. So two karmic cards. Who will stand up for the Constitution when this D-Day happens? Many of you are saying, will he be successful? No. Please go back and look at all my other readings for those answers, because I do twice weekly readings, and I've looked forward to 2028 and 2026. Okay, so can the Dems regroup? Now, this could be in the latter part of his term. It could be in his third year, for example. I don't see him doing a full 4 years. So we'll see. I do know that by the time 2028 comes, the landscape is pretty destroyed, but not unsalvageable. All right, can the Dems regroup? Show me what I need to know about the Democratic Party. It's, according to opinion polls, at its lowest level yet. Can the Democrats regroup? So I'm seeing the knights lined up in a row. That tells me straight away that they will... a lot of sunlight. So they will... Goodness gracious, yes, they will. Okay, well, can the Democratic Party regroup behind new leadership, or through brave people that step forward? Can the Democratic Party regroup? Nine of Pentacles. There's a perception right now that this is what came up for Schumer. There's a perception here that they're not doing enough. They're putting their own comfortable lifestyles first. We have a contract that they made with the people to do for them, more so than they're in service to the people, or they're supposed to be. Great deal of anxiety around the party at the moment. They took a fairly bad hit in the past, so I'm now using what is this one? The Tarot of Traditions. They took a big hit, wounded, mortally wounded, wounded in battle, hurt quite badly through the 2024 election. The Magician is beautiful card in the sky here, crowning this reading, because it talks about manifestation. We have the Queen of Swords, logic, planning, strategy, stability through truth. We have the High Priestess right now. There are things here that we cannot see yet, and they're forming in the background. And we have the Four of Wands, the party of the families, working class, it's reunion and coming back together. So it's almost as if they have to have this debate. They have to talk about this. And it is going to yield some positive results here. The Queen of Wands in the hopes and fears. Now that is, it's passion, it's motivation, it's charisma. It's the fire in the belly. It's that propels you forward. That's in the hopes and fears. And we have the King of Swords, yeah. So, yes, there's the planning, strategy, strong leadership, fortune. Fortune will turn in their favour. And they're putting the work in and they're waiting for their ship to come in. This is a question of timing. Absolutely, they will regroup. Right now, though, there's a lot of disappointment. Just take a look at these outcome cards for those that are feeling a bit deflated. We have the Magician, manifestation, crowning this reading. We have the King of Swords, planning, logic, strength. He's a king. We have the Wheel of Fortune, Jupiter, luck, benefic energy, smiling upon them. And we get doing the work and waiting for one ship to come in. Absolutely, they do regroup and unite behind new leadership. They've got a bit of work to do right now because we have a lot of disappointment and toxicity here. People are making choices. They want to see strength and we see justice. So there's a very low point for the Democratic Party at this time. All right, does Schumer go? Schumer, do we get new? Okay, let's one step at a time. I talked about a middle-aged businessman. Some of you said, we don't want a businessman. I'm just telling you what I'm seeing clairvoyantly. Whether or not it comes true or not, I don't know. It's not my opinion. Let's see, will these new leaders, the Archer again, I'm seeing the Archer. I'm just seeing the Archer so many times, which is Sagittarius energy. Will the Dems unite behind a strong leader? 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 Nine of Cups, wish fulfillment. And here we have our Three of Wands, absolutely. Five of Pentacles, okay, so a lot of feeling left out, like the Democratic Party talks about this broad church, this broad community, village of people supporting them. They can no longer rely on that. There has to be. That's why I feel it's more likely to be someone that comes in strongly on how to repair the economy, because people are suffering by 2028. Two of Pentacles in the past, they have decisions to make. This is a review time for the Democrats. Justice. It's interesting. We all have to bear the consequences of our actions or inactions. Right now, it's a It's almost like the Democratic Party are going through their rebirth. Strength. They're gathering strength. They're portraying more strength than what you think. And the King of Wands, the Congress, those in the Congress, the House, for example. The Ace of Swords, the truth is emerging. Truth can be uncomfortable, can't it? And we have the High Priestess. This is a leader we haven't yet seen. This is somebody we don't yet know, somebody who hasn't declared their hand yet, who is coming forward and will have mass appeal to the people. We have the Devil card, the toxicity, fracturing, managing the disappointment, and then we've got moving out of troubled waters. Oh, that's perfect. That is just King of Cups, a wise leader comes forward. Okay, so they're not here yet, but they will be, and they will have to manage the fracturing within the Democratic Party, the disappointment within the Democratic Party, and they will have to take the Democratic Party out of that Four of Swords energy and moving it forward. They haven't come forward yet, or they haven't declared their hand. It could be someone existing, but they will rise and they will have a mass appeal. So please, this is a process that must be gone through. All right, I want to just go to Putin and Trump, because this has been a fairly heavy reading. And, you know, when times are as chaotic and as perilous as what they are now, we do have to do the work. And if we feel that we can't do the work, if we feel that it's too much, then we have to step back and support the others who do want to step forward and not hold on to a position that we can't fulfill anymore. You know, so there's a lot of rebirth, a lot of letting go in the Democratic Party, and a lot of opportunity for the right leader or leaders, because I see a man and a woman, to rise. Okay. All right, let's see. I'm very tempted to ask about AOC. I just had a thought that she may even come forward as a potential vice president pick. Anyway, let's not go there yet. There's a lot to get through. Let's go to Putin and Trump, those phone calls. Let me see. They're straight away. There's almost a joining of hands. There's a document that's being passed to them, like in a scroll, a deal, a contract. They're talking about the contract. I see two kings talking. I think that's the way they think of each other. Let's have a look here. If I can see what's on the... So there's a candle being held upside down, and you know how they used to do the seal in the... Again, I keep going back to that England period prior to the American Revolution. Isn't that interesting? We normally go back to 1939, but I'm going back to feudal type times. So there's been a deal done between the two, and it's not the deal that you're hearing about publicly. What can I see? What can you show me? It has something to do with the oceans, the sea. So watch for some kind of weaving that Trump does around oceans and territorial seas. Turkey better watch out. It could get played. This could be the Black Sea. Watch for something like that. Okay, so Trump is the face of death. Oh, that's a terrible image that I got, but he is. There's nothing about Trump's intervention that should be seen as legitimate. Are Trump and Putin carving up the spoils of Ukraine between themselves? It's almost as if I've got one of my guides sort of laughing and going, well, why are you even asking the question? Is that not obvious yet? Do you not understand that's what they do? Sorry, but okay. Trump and Putin carving up the spoils of Ukraine. Trump and Putin carving up the spoils of Ukraine. I think Trump will end up visiting Moscow eventually. Trump and Putin carving up the spoils of Ukraine. And of course that then puts a weakened Europe in the frame. There he is, the businessman, the kickbacks. Because if you think that he's doing it for America, there he's getting something out of this. The two cards come forward in bitter irony. The Emperor then comes forward as the foundation of the reading. People say, oh, you're biased, but the cards are here. The King of Pentacles, the business people. The High Priestess, something we can't see. The Emperor, total control. I'm a king. The Past, Six of Pentacles, giving and receiving help. The Sky, the Ace of Pentacles. Now, it's interesting because in the future we've got retreat, wounded, mortally wounded. That's interesting because this is uniting Europe. It's uniting the Commonwealth countries. It's uniting the UK again with Canada and Australia. Nobody should assume that China's a friend, and the US should not assume that China's a friend. We could see strengthening alliances all round. Interesting, the Four of Swords in the immediate future, a retreat. Maybe it gets hot in the kitchen for them both. Russia is in the frame, abundance, Mother Russia, and the past. Now anyone, there's a Professor Jeffrey Sachs who, runs off all the time about how NATO got too close and threatened Putin, and therefore that's the only reason he invaded Ukraine. But he forgets Putin's imperialistic tendencies. He forgets Putin's control, wanting absolute and total and utter control of places like Belarus and Moldova, and wanting to put in a Putin-esque Ukrainian government, because in the past Ukraine has fought Russia tooth and nail. He forgets to talk about all of those things and Putin's stated ambitions of bringing this old Soviet Union back. He doesn't talk about any of that. So these right-wing talking points, and I don't think Sachs is right-wing, but the talking points that NATO got too close ignores the reason why Finland and Sweden thought that they would be better off in NATO than alone fighting the Russian army. The Eight of Swords, paranoia, restriction, and then we get our answer to the question. Theft, stealing, leaving somebody unguarded. Oh my God. Justice is here. And then we get the Knight of Pentacles, stability. Something is going to, it's a crossroads. Something is going to occur to stop this, and I'm assuming the Knight of Wands will be Europe. And the Three of Pentacles, UK, Germany, I think, UK, Germany, and France. Canada's in there. Wow. So what you're seeing, you're actually seeing. Okay? Don't doubt what you're seeing the truth. Okay. Also, I want to say that the reason for the new viewers, the reason I have braces and gloves and goodness knows what on my hands is because the first metacarpal joint in my thumbs are worn out. They've got fairly bad stage 3 arthritis in them. I don't want surgery or joint replacement at all. So I'm going to be trying platelet injections. Anyone who's had them, feedback to me in the comments, good, bad, and indifferent. I'm trying everything I can your castor oil suggestions, your devil's claw tablets, your hydrochloric acid supplements. I'm trying it all. Homeopathic remedies. I'm trying physio and all sorts of things. Gentle stretches. The trouble is the joints are so bad they're dislocating, and so now you see why I wear this. I will be doing that. That's not to say it will be this bad forever, but I will be wearing these for a little while to come. Yes, a writer's hands, pianists get this, guitar players get it as well. I also have reactive arthritis, so life throws you. Well, life's a box of chocolates. Not always. It's not always bad, is it? You get some beautiful moments as well. So we soldier on. Okay then, thanks for tuning in. Have a great weekend, because it's Thursday here in Ausland for me, Australia, and have a great weekend. I'll see you next week. Bye.